Hello, rodeo fans. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast. It was a bit of a winter hiatus for us, but we're back. We're ready to rumble. The Canadian Pro Rodeo season is on the horizon. They've been running through the winter run um, down in Texas, kind of all over on the PRCA swing. And yeah, we're back, Clay. We're ready to rumble. And yeah, it's going to be a fun 2026.
I mean, myself personally, I'm feeling energized, been busy, been running ragged half the time, but feeling like it's going good for me. And I feel like there's a lot of positives coming for the sport of rodeo. And yeah, just been good to see some good stuff happening for these Canadians going up and down
Yeah,
the road. And
Yeah, it's been fun, man. I mean, like I guess we didn't really touch base over the NFR. It just was well, again like just a busy winter in that regard for myself, and I know everybody gets busy with the holidays, but yeah, the NFR went pretty good for the Canadians. Some guys have some solid showings. We saw the unthinkable happen. Zeke Thurston bucking off to seal his fifth world title, but we know he'll be back better than ever. But yeah, it's been crazy. I feel like January hit and it was the slowest month ever. And then we got into February. Now we're somehow in March. So it's just crazy to think that we're literally like just over a week away from the 2026 leg of the season kicking off in Rimby. So it's been exciting. And yeah, we were kind of talking about it before we started recording here. It's been an interesting winter run for the Canadians. It hasn't been a quiet winter so far for the Canadians, but it's been a hasn't seen any big wins. Not we're through Denver, San Antonio, Fort Worth, and rolling through Houston here. So it's kind of a little bit of excitement, but we were still waiting for that first big hit for our Canadian athletes.
you bet. And it was like you say, people are doing their best. They're riding well
Mhm.
and showing up and definitely coming away with some money. But yeah, you don't have one of them crown jewel victories in your
Yeah,
pocket that maybe we've seen in the past here, these last couple of winners where those guys get those or the girls. I mean, we saw Shelby Bosley Megid there finished up her season for the next little bit there in Fort Worth and roped really well as she goes on maternity leave here
yeah,
for the
yeah.
next little bit and everything like that. But yeah, our Bronc riders, I mean, they're making money. Uh, Pesos making pesos, and uh, yeah, just
It's
everybody's
crazy.
been showing up.
Yeah, it's just like you said, nothing big, but there's really chipping away, kind of staying in the mix. And you mentioned Peso. I don't know if you saw the post, but yeah, he's won over $50,000 on the season already, which is a crazy start for the first 2 months of 2026. Like that horse is just truly amazing. It's amazing how like the workload he can handle. Like there's just like 3 to 4 runs a night usually, it seems like.
Well, and yeah, the Harris brothers, they get along so well with that horse.
Hmm.
They had shown a stat there during San Antonio before the finals that in the last 2 years, that horse had competed in 8 rounds, and not just 8 calves roped
Hmm.
on him, but 8 rounds with multiple riders, like you mentioned. And they had won each of those 8 rounds leading up to the short go in San Antonio.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, Ty
crazy.
Harris, he went on a heater there, and both the Harris boys, I think, won their semifinals going into the short round. And I mean, last year they didn't actually keep him for the short round in San Antonio because they took him out to Tucson, and then that's where Kyle Lucas got the big W there that got him set on his way for his NFR. But yeah, it doesn't matter where you take him; it seems to work for a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's wild. It just like I said, yeah, truly amazing horse. And there's even been some like Canadian rough stock heading down the trail too. Like some new Canadian Calgary Stampede horses I've seen like in San Antonio and Fort Worth and stuff. So that's exciting. I think it's really gonna set it up for to be a really big year for those guys. And yeah, you said the Bronc Riders. Like I think the short go um Q and Zeke were 88 points in the short go in San Antonio to pick up last hole, which is the Bronc Riders as tough as it's ever been.
And that pen of horses that you get Calgary, you get
Hmm.
all of those other contractors in San Antonio, and that short goes always just a knife fight. I
Yeah.
think a couple years ago, you had to be 90 to pick up a check, and it's just yeah that rodeo it is best of the best, and I mean you've kind of got to pluck that horse out of that pen that's gonna just give you that little bit of an edge because those guys all ride so well,
Hmm.
and it's just
It's
so tight,
crazy.
right? But
Yeah, it's funny like the degree of separation. with between that group of guys. It's razor thin, hey? Like it's anybody from first to seems like even 40th, even to the top 50 could pop out and win a rodeo at any time.
No doubt, and that's one thing, and it's not to take away from any other era, but for a long time it seemed like you'd have the pack, right? If you think about it,
Yeah.
compared to the Tour de France, it's like the peloton.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'd have maybe your odd front runners, but anymore, like, yeah, you can look at names that and even towards the end of the season that are sitting in 30th and everything, and it's just hard to believe because those are
hmm
guys that in the past were probably top five and everything. So yeah, the depth of that bronc ride, and that's it's the same goes in a lot of the other timed events and stuff, but it
hmm
just seems in that bronc ride, and I mean, it can change so quick.
I think it stands out a little more for us as Canadians that we have so many Canadians like doing well in the Saddle Bronc Rider. Again, not taking away from anybody else in the other events, but when you consistently see 7 to 10, 11 guys hanging in there with the top in the world, you can really tell, like you say, it's kind of like it's less of a kind of a top dog pack that you have. It's more of like anybody can do it, and I think a lot of that too can be attributed to the quality of the stock everybody's been getting. Like again, like there's great horses in the past, but they're now that's like so say for San Antonio, for example, it's like you maybe get 190 back in the day, whereas you could be 90 on any of the horses, and kids are growing up getting a better stock, and it's a lot of things coming together to make it what it is today.
You're right, and you've seen the progression, and I mean, love it or hate it. There's some people that aren't on the side of seeing these bigger rodeos become more of the pool type
hmm
scenarios. But what those committees have done in terms of bringing in the multiple contractors and getting the top end of several contractors together, it just
hmm
yeah, it makes an NFR TV pen of horses every short round
hmm
and makes it just that much greater. And I mean, I think we do talk about the bronc riding maybe more than some of the other events,
That's true.
and it's
That's
not
true.
just because that's where I come from, but you reference that fact that there are just always so many Canadians that are in
hmm
the fight. I know they showed, I think it was the one semifinal at San Antonio where it was like four Canadians, four Wrights, and then
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was Roper Kiesner or whatever was in there, just sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's pretty cool to watch, man. And I guess a guy I did want to give a shout out to for a great start to the season so far is Orrin Larson. He seems to be back and good and like feel looking healthy, making good rides and poised to make his 10th NFR. So hopefully he can stay healthy and rock on. Like again, we try to give
Yeah,
our
you're
love across
absolutely
the
right. I'm
events, but
looking through the events there, and again, bareback riding's the one that'll pop up at the first, and to see where he's at already. I mean, he's ahead of the Cooper Filinek, or yeah, that won Denver in the standings, right? And so yeah, like maybe hasn't had that again, that gold star win or gold buckle win or something so far this year, but has been plugging away and yeah, I thought he finished 2025 riding significantly better.
hmm
And it doesn't always work that you're riding your best when you've done your best.
Yeah.
And it was too bad that he just missed it, right? Because I think last year, had he made it to the NFR, I think he would have had a really good showing. Um, but yeah, it's great to see that that's just carrying over into 2026 and things are
hmm
still working out for him.
Yeah, it'll be fun to follow him along and see how it goes for him this year. So this week we have Q Taylor as our guest in the show this week, and we had an interesting part of the conversation I want to talk to you about, Clay, was um, we kind of got into the part how it seems like the winter run isn't as again, don't take this the wrong way, but it's like it's not quite as crucial to have a good winter run as it used to be because there's so much money available later in the year. So which is why maybe you see let people going not quite as hard in the winter because they know that they got to save some rodeo count for the end of the year, but they know that there's especially in the rough stock. Maybe it's not the same. The same can't be said for the timed events, but you layer in Mandan and Sioux Falls and those big rodeos, like you can make up a lot of ground from the 1st of August to when the season's over.
And on the bronc riding side of things, when we've seen the growth of the Extreme Broncs Tour in the
hmm
PRCA, and like you say, not just the very finals, because that one pays like a slot machine, but
Yeah.
all of those along the way, yeah, it does kind of bring down maybe the absolute importance. And we've seen over the years that you'll see those guys that got hurt at the end of the NFR and they have surgery and they don't
Hmm.
go to the winter rodeos at all. I mean, you can see guys that don't start rodeo until July 1st still make the NFR
Yeah, it's
sometimes, right?
crazy. Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it doesn't mean that guys have always needed those winter rodeos, but yeah, you're able to take that step back. I mean, it can get pretty lean in that winter run if a guy isn't winning.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, you're burning rodeos that you now don't have in your back pocket towards the end of the season, and what do you got to show for it? So,
Hmm.
no, I think you see some of those guys, and a guy like Q Taylor making his first NFR last year. I think he's probably able to now take that little bit of a breath,
Hmm.
kind of say, you know what, I made it. I don't have to like jump out of the starting gate and make up for maybe something that didn't work out before. I've
Yeah.
got that experience and just I mean, he's got the other Canadians to lean on to say, you know what, we got all season for this. And I mean, he's still riding outstanding. He's still
Yeah.
making his chances count right now. And yeah, but I mean, is a guy not going to go to San Antonio or Houston or
Yeah.
those ones? No, you're going to go to those.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even Scotty Gunsner, he's down in Houston here in the next little bit,
Cool.
um, but yeah, it is kind of an interesting change in that dynamic. That yeah, I mean, for some of those guys, maybe it helps in that
Hmm.
sense that you can ride a little freer. You
Yeah.
can feel like whether it works or not. I mean, I'm going to go to the ones I want to. I'm going to take my chances here, but win or lose, we're still going to be all right.
Yeah, it's just part of the evolution of it all, you know. There's just so much more money available all year, really. You can't even say on either bookend, but it just so much money available. The growth's been huge. Again, it's gonna be fun to watch the race. We talk about it all the time. It's gonna be fun to see how everything shakes out at the end of the year, where we're standing when all the chips fall. Looking more to the Canadian side of things, Clay, do have our first set of unofficial Canadian standings for 2026 posted on the website, and some of you may be wondering, how do you have 2026 standings if the 2026 season hasn't officially started in 2026? Well, these include the Hannah Pro Rodeo, Old Silverfest, and the Maple Leaf Circuit Finals. So you can see the folks. It's kind of like they're our own winter run now, where you can get a bit of a head start on the season by going to those last few fall rodeos and hitting up Exhibition in November, and you can see like guys like Oz and Core and the bull riding's already got 7,001. Logan Bird's off to a torrent start again at $8,500. That money goes a long way at the end of the year, in determining whether you make the CFR or if you even have it, or if you have a shot at a Canadian title. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun to see how, like, again, you feel bad almost in a sense for the Hannahs and the Olds of the world because they don't count towards that year's CFR. But looking ahead, it's kind of neat to see people with this big of a start already.
No doubt. And I mean, you can kind of compare it to what we were talking about earlier about the PRCA winter run. It's
Hmm.
not that you need to be at that Maple Leaf Circuit Finals to make the CFR, but it sure helps. And
Oh
and
yeah.
it can make or break, like you say, a CFR qualification or a championship, because I mean that rodeo pays real well.
Hmm.
And Olds and Hannah, I mean, those are great stops there for those contestants, absolutely to, I mean, keep sharp going into that CFR.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it does kind of take a little bit away from it compared to if that was that last rodeo of the year kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's, I mean, they've had a couple years at it, and they still like that time of year, and
Hmm.
that's what works for them.
We look at a guy like Payson DeLue in the steer wrestling. He's got 10,000 on the season. That puts him over halfway, almost halfway what it took to qualify for the CFR last year. So I mean that for a guy who's never been, who's been knocking on the door the last couple of years, like that's a huge leg up heading into a busy season.
No doubt. And he bulldogged so well at that circuit finals.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's, I mean, on our scale, that's almost like winning Houston, right?
Yeah.
Like that just set him up so well for it. And you'll see sometimes those guys that haven't had that big moment before that'll suddenly win Houston. And I mean,
Yeah.
they finished the season right in the mix of that world title race. And I mean, the way he bulldogged there, I have no doubt he's going to be a top guy to beat here all year.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool to watch. And I guess looking ahead, we kind of touched on at the start of the show. We got Rimby coming up next week, starting on Friday, March 20th. It's not the biggest rodeo on the schedule, but it's again a kind of a way for people to start getting out of their winter routine, get back out into the rodeo world, see if the truck still runs good, get the horses kind of moving in a pro rodeo setting. So I mean, it'll be an exciting way to start the season, and it kind of just I guess we have a bit of a breakthrough into April, but I mean, yeah, basically from Rimby on, we're full steam ahead to CFR 52.
For sure. And you know what? I mean, Rimby, it's maybe it's not Pinoca.
Mhm.
It's not far, but it's not Pinoca. But I mean, the amount of horses that they've bucked in that arena all winter,
Mhm.
and people that have been roping there. I mean, that buildings like that, Oyen, Brooks, all of those indoor winter facilities. That's where guys have been practicing, and so you might get those young guys that have been
Mhm.
just picking away, working on it all winter. They get the right matchup, and I mean, they're off and running, right?
Mhm.
You get that momentum built up at a rodeo like this. Or yeah, you got your older guys that yeah, it's just like, oh, good, still works. All right,
Yeah.
this is good. Yeah, yeah. Bearings all worked on the trailer. We got there, all the tires are still there. This is good. Yeah. So, but I mean, I know the committees work their tail
hmm
off and no matter what place they're at, and yeah, Rimby, it's just a great way to kind of start the official 26 or 2026 calendar of the 2026 season. So it'll
Yeah,
be good
it's gonna be good. Yeah, kind of like you said, good way to ease into it and get things rolling. And yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it for now, Clay. We'll get back together after Rimby, recap some results, and hopefully we get some big winners down in Houston. It'll be great.
for sure. Always good to see them big checks in Houston. I was thinking about and again, I saw that there's a rodeo school that Zeke Thurston's going to be at, and I can remember the last year I was riding Broncs, getting on in Stettler,
hmm
kind of like the old buildings in Rimby and stuff, and it was the year that Zeke really jumped out and got going, right? That's and I mean now the legend that he is, but everybody starts somewhere, and so that'll be kind of neat. Um, One note, when I was looking at the bareback riding standings, somebody I wanted to acknowledge just behind Oren was Cody Lamb.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, Cody's dad, Gary, passed away there
hmm
suddenly. And, that's, I mean, I, I reached out there to the family. I mean, you when you've grown up with a lot of people and stuff, those typical like superstar rodeo dads,
hmm
right? Like the guys that just, I mean, you can't wait to run into them as much as their kids
Yeah.
and say hi to and it was a big loss there for the family and for a lot of anybody that knew him, right? So
Yeah, no, it's that's a tough deal. And then yeah, we're thinking of Cody and his family and wishing them all the best. And yeah, Clay, I guess it's a good time as ever to throw it over to Q Taylor. It was a good chat with him, and we're super stoked to see if he can make it back to a second NFR. But yeah, we'll catch up after Rimby, and it's good to see you. And we'll be back with a short round very very soon. Hello, rodeo fans. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast. This week, I am pleased to be joined by one of the young guns in the saddle bronc riding world. He is the one and only Q Taylor. Q, thanks for a lot for sitting down with me, man. It's gonna be fun to have a chat today.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, buddy. So let's talk a bit about how things are going. I know just before we started recording here, we talked about how last year was kind of a groundbreaking big year for you. You qualified for your first CFR and your first NFR. You kind of been knocking on the door the years prior to that, but what do you think changed last season that kind of made everything click for you?
I think in years prior, my mindset towards bronc riding was kind of just do my job every time and don't make a mistake, and that'll get you close to beating the best guys in the world. But to go out there and really get them, you got to throw all caution to the wind. And if you go down, you go down, and you go down swinging. So that kind of mindset changed for me last year, and I think that kind of just pushed me to that next level to help me get to both finals. And I had a good CFR there, was successful there, and then
hmm
Had a pretty decent NFR too. Could have been better, could have been worse.
How much did it help? Those I know those years like we talked about those years prior, like being able to win some big events and kind of compete and hang with those top guys in the world, like that's got to help your confidence a ton too by being okay. I have didn't mean to make it happen, but you just kind of needed that little extra jolt to keep going. But those moments must have been big for you in your development.
Yeah, it was for sure. Like, I won Pendleton this year, and that was kind of like a last big push. I needed to win Pendleton to get into Sioux Falls, and did well at Sioux Falls there too. But yeah, that the win in Pendleton, it was pretty special to me. Not only did it keep me my hopes alive for the NFR, but um, I think the last 4 years in a row they've won that rodeo on black tie. And Weston Patterson, he went out there. I think he was two ahead of me, and he was like 90 or 90 and a half on black tie. Made a great ride, and kind of felt like the cards were stacked against me there. I had a great horse of JD Hamaker's Catwalk, and I was 91 on him to win the rodeo, maybe 91 and a half. I don't remember, but that was pretty cool to get that win and beat black tie. Nothing against Weston, but um, that was pretty special to me. And then yeah, going to Sioux Falls there, I was just had a good horse in the first round, but kind of had a mediocre day, and then end up winning the second round, and I had to get back to the 8 man, and then I won the 1 second out of the 8 man there, and made the short round, and I needed to place no worse than I think third in the 4 man, and I was second there, so that got me to the my first NFR.
It's wild how much money is available at the end of the season now. Hey, like I've talked about this a few times with some other guys, but like we've seen it like really kind of take hold in the bronc riding where Logan and Ben used that final weekend to get in last year. This past or in 2024 and 25, it was you and Ben. But like you can win from Pendleton on, you can win a ton of money and still, if you're kind of on the outside looking in, even that top 20, top 25, you still have a shot to get to NFR at that point.
You do, and um, Rory Lemmel's to thank for that a lot for Sioux Falls. He likes drama. It's kind of nerve-wracking for us, but um, I was sure thankful for it last year, for sure. But yeah, it's crazy because nobody's like Wyatt Casper was in after Sioux Falls was
hmm
done this year, and then we went to Rogan, and him and Lefty, I think, both made the short round, and Rogan and Lefty ended up winning more and bumped Wyatt out of the top 15 the very last day of the season. So yeah, it's not over till it's over, and um to me, like the bronc riding is so deep right now
It's
that
crazy.
it's like the top 50 in the world can at any given day jump out there and win a rodeo. And um, to me, what separates the 50th guy from maybe like the 20th guy in the world is the 50th guy and the 20th guy both have the same chance to win a rodeo, but the 20th guys and up can make those lesser horses a little bit better in place and get higher scores on them. But yeah, like with these events that are at the end of the year, a guy's kind of got to pay attention to his rodeo count.
Mm.
And like this winter, we've kind of just been kicking back, taking it easy. I think I've maybe been to 4 or 5 rodeos. So we like to save a lot of rodeos for the fall because you can go to a $10,000 rodeo every day in September if you need to. And yeah, hopefully we don't have to do that again this year, but we'll at least have the rodeos to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't really thought of that. Because even with Fort Worth, like that was the first time we saw Zeke was Fort Worth, or San Antonio was the first time we saw Zeke this year. So I guess like yeah, with how much money's available at the end of the year, and like you said, rodeo count becomes a thing, and you're not getting guys where you have to rodeo quite as hard in the winter time. Hey, you can kind of save it up for some of them bigger rodeo, and you layer in all those big bronc matches and everything throughout the year. Like there, you can start rodeoing in June and still make a damn good like shot to make the NFR.
Like that throughout the winter, there's a lot of good places you can go, and um like those world's toughest events out there on the East Coast, and now there's a couple in California too. Like they all have 20,000 added, and you only, I think they take like 20 guys most of the time, so
Mhm.
they're kind of good to go to. But yeah, I think I only have went to one so far this year, and not because they're bad horses or anything like that, just strictly because I want to have at least 20 rodeos that I can go to in September if I need
Hmm.
to.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and even just yeah, like you said, you know at those events at the end of the year, you're getting on the best horses. You see what they did at the Rough Rider Cup, bringing in a bit with better panel horses, and you have Sioux Falls and all those big events. Like you're gonna be getting on the juice at the end of the year, so you know your shot at the big checks way better.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the times towards the end of the year, um, you kind of have to beat less guys too,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
after Pendleton, the guys that haven't made kind of like they'll go to Mandan and Sioux Falls, but that's about it really. And then the guys that don't have a shot, they're not going either. So really, it's the guys that um, guys just on the bubble that you're rodeoing against. So you got better shot at getting on those better horses and better shots at winning too, because like you go this time of year and there's probably 45 guys entered at every single rodeo you go to that all ride really good.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's so competitive. Um, Before we move on, I want to talk about your win at Rodeo Austin last year. That was kind of one of the bigger wins of your career so far. You made a big 90-point ride in the short round there. How much did that win help your confidence? Just and like what did it mean to you at that point in your career?
Winning Austin last year, that was pretty crazy. I wasn't even really supposed to be in that short round there. Um, the night before, actually, we'd went out with a buddy and went bow fishing all night long and didn't get back to the house until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And by the time I woke up, I'd missed the call for the short round because I think Jacobs got hurt and turned out, and I missed the call. And that PRCA or Procom gives you like 30 to 40 minutes to call them back, and I just missed that, and they rolled down to Chase Brooks. And as soon as I woke up, I looked at my phone and I missed a call from Procom. I was like, well, I know what that was for. So I called them back and they said that they'd rolled past me and they were waiting to um, hear back from Chase. So I called Chase and asked him what he was thinking. Because if he denied the spot, then it'd come back to me and I would get to go. And he said, well, I would not sure if I'm going to take it or not. Like he'd kind of been sored up, and that horse that we were supposed to get on, that Hammerstone of Butler's, he's a big bad eliminator and he's all there. Chase, he's like, well, I'm trying to figure out why they rolled to me and not you. So I had to explain to him that I'd been out bow fishing all night. And he said, well, at least you weren't at the bar all night running amok. So I guess you get to try Hammerstone. I've been there 4 times and it hasn't worked yet. So it's your turn. He said, if you win Austin, I get half the branding iron, which I still haven't gave him half the branding iron yet. But no, it was really special. And then I showed up there to Austin and um technically, like as a walk-up spot, they're supposed to draw out of the turnouts and the re-rides, but Chase and I both knew we were going to show up to Austin and get on Hammerstone. That was just how it was going to go, and that's dang sure what I had. And that was a pretty good short round that day too. Like Lefty had All or Nothing of Sammy
Hmm.
Andrews, Stetson had Foul Motion of Benny's, and I had Hammerstone, and it could have went to either one of us three. We all made really good rides, and those horses really bucked. But yeah, that Hammerstone, he just bails out of there and circles around there tight to the left, and he's bucking. And I was just fortunate. I think they had Stetson at 89 and a half, and I was 90, and I got the win. And after that, it just kind of after riding Hammerstone, I thought the rest of them would be easy, and it turns out they're not all easy, but yeah, it kind of got the momentum going, and then after that I went home and um just was up there for the spring rodeos in Canada and was riding good. And I was doing an interview um kind of mid-June last year, and everybody's asking what had been happening, why I haven't been winning. I was like, well, after Austin, I went home and I have still been winning. I just haven't been in the state. So,
Hmm.
but I think I won $800 from down here in the States. I won $800 from Austin to like after the fourth. So
Dang.
yeah, so then after I had a pretty slow fourth and kind of towards just was picking away at him through the rest of July. Went to Calgary, didn't have much luck at Calgary, which guy always wants to do good at Calgary. And
Was that your first
then
time at the Stampede?
no, it was my second. I was
Okay.
there my rookie year in 23.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And then yeah, kind of the well, through August things started heating up like I once or I guess I what was that? Castle Rock I won second at, and then I won Strathmore, and
Hmm.
then I won Logan, Utah, and we went to Lovington, New Mexico, won second out of there, and it just kind of got rolling there, and won the long round of um, Kennewick, and then placed good in the short round there, and just kind of got made the short round of Ellensburg. So things kind of started picking up there at the end of the year, and then every rodeo I went to in September I placed at. So I yeah, it was a last ditch effort to get to the finals, but it was yeah, I wouldn't rather make the NFR my first NFR any other way. It was pretty cool to get it done that way.
Yeah, that's fun, I'm sure. So what were you doing? Like obviously that slump couldn't have been an easy spot to be in. I mean, like mentally probably get down a little bit. And I mean, a guy tries to stay as positive as he can, but what were you doing to try to dig yourself out of that hole and kind of maintain a positive attitude through that little slump?
Um, I really didn't get down too much because it wasn't like I was riding bad. I was just kind of
Gotcha.
and I wasn't even really drawing that I wouldn't say bad, but I was just getting on 84 pointers kind of
Yeah.
everywhere I went. So you'd be picking up like maybe sixth place check
Hmm.
sometimes for like $400. And yeah, you just to win at this level, you got to be getting on the top 5% horses at the rodeos. And um, then kind of once you have momentum on your side and the judges are kind of paying attention to you a little bit more, it's a little bit easier to place on those weaker horses or make those weaker horses better. Like my horse I got on in the long round, the Pendleton, was a Wade Sankey horse, and nobody had ever really got along with it and made it really buck. And um, me and Wade made a plan there, and I dropped my halter down on the end of his nose and kind of went a shorter rein than everybody else did and got him picked up right out of there. And then I was 87 and 1 second in the long round. And yeah, ball was rolling and everything was fun after that.
Yeah, I guess it's all part of it. Again, like a theme that I talk about with a lot of guys and girls on here is just that learning how to win and learning how to kind of bring the best out of what you're given, right? I think that's such a big thing in rodeo because it's all luck of the draw, right? So, no, that's really cool. Let's talk about the end of the year, you qualify for your first CFR, first NFR. What did it mean to you to kind of get those first qualifications under your belt, starting with the CFR and then into the NFR?
The CFR, it shouldn't have taken me as long as it did
No,
to make it.
I couldn't believe it when it was when we were talking about it. Like I remember last fall that it was your first time. Of like, what the heck? Seems like you've been going there for years.
My rookie year in 23, I was on the bubble to make the NFR and the CFR. So I stayed down here more and tried to make the NFR and ended up missing the CFR just by a hair and
Hmm.
missing the NFR. So that kind of sucked, but um, I guess live by the sword, die by the sword.
Hmm.
I was going for the big one and letting it all hang out there. But yeah, making the CFR this year really did mean a lot. That a guy being from Alberta growing up watching the Canadian finals, like it's you watch Calgary, the Canadian finals, and the NFR on TV, and the guy wants to be at all three of those places, and it was starting to annoy me a bit not getting there. So after I won Strathmore this year, that secured my spot to the CFR. So that was sure a relief off of my chest, and I could just focus on making the NFR after that. And I think that kind of helped too.
Well, and that was it was a damn good CFR for you too. I mean, you roll in there and you win $44,000, like next to Zeke, the second highest in the bronc ride, and then finish second in Canada. Win round two, big 90 point ride in the fifth round. Like what was that? Like kind of summarize your first CFR experience. I mean, obviously it was good, but what was it like through your lens being able to kind of compete with with your best buds and be in the mix for one?
Yeah, the CFR was everything I dreamed of. It kind of had a different feel than maybe what I was expecting, just because like Ben and I didn't even make it to the back number ceremony because we were in Rogan the
Hmm.
night before. So um I rolled into it just kind of treating it like another rodeo, and I was feeling really good and riding good. So we just kind of rolled in there like every other rodeo, showed up like 2 hours before the first perf started. We flew from Denver to Calgary, and I had my truck sitting there in Calgary, and then we ripped up there to Edmonton, and we didn't have too much time to spare. Checked into our hotel rooms, and it was had a quick shower and
Hmm.
straight to the arena to get on. And yeah, then jumped out there the first round and thought I won it, and then turns
Oh
out they
yeah,
added.
I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Dang, Zeke got me again, but
Dang.
it was yeah. Got on really good horses, had a blast up there. Just the Canadian finals, every like just walking around, you talk to all sorts of like past champions and guys that you grew up watching and really respect, like Travis Whiteside, um, Rod Hay, Denny Hay, all those guys are around there. Rod Warren, and like especially those guys that kind of helped me get started, and as early as like the Build a Cowboy program in junior high school rodeo, it was really cool for me to be able to, I guess, represent myself and what they'd help get me to. So that was pretty cool for me. And yeah, if it wasn't for Zeke, I think I would have had a little bit more money out of there, but that guy's tough to beat.
Oh man, it's crazy. But it must have been fun, yeah, like to duke it out with Z, kind of go head to head. I mean, it's when he's winning rounds and stuff, it's tough to beat him. But I mean, you were like right there. Like he only beat you by a few points in the average, and I mean, he had a pretty good like lead going into the finals. So I mean, yeah, at 60,000 onto that, it's tough to catch anybody. But I mean, yeah, you're right there with him the whole way through. That must have been kind of a cool moment for you as well.
For sure, on like the last round for the grand entry, the two guys that are duking it out, you walk out there for the entry and stuff, and um, it was we both knew that Zeke already had it won,
Yeah.
but that was still a cool feeling to um, just for my first finals that
Hmm.
I'd been to at a professional level to be in contention for the Canadian Championship, and especially like Zeke's played a large part of my career. He was there for some of the first broncs I ever got on. Clay Elliott used to put on bronc riding schools there in Nanton, and Zeke would always come down and help out with that. So for one of the guys that helped me get started and helped me get to where I am today, and then now I'm riding against him, going for um, rounds and Canadian championships. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's been fun to watch too. I mean, you go in round two, you're 90 points on Flying Karma, the Calgary Stampede, to win your first ever go around at the Canadian Finals. Like that's there's guys who make the CFR in like all events who never even come close to winning around, and you get to do it your first time at your second out. Like, what that must have been a really cool feeling. Was it even like a weight off of your chest in a sense, or was it just like business as usual? Made a good ride on a good horse.
It was definitely a great feeling because, like you said, there's a lot of really good bronc riders that have never won around there,
Hmm.
and that just speaks to how much talent is in Canada. But also, it's when things have been going that way for that long, you kind of expect yourself to win. So I wasn't shocked, but it was definitely a great feeling.
Yeah, yeah, and it's. I mean, you couple like you said, we got such a great talent pool in Canada on the two-legged and four-legged side of the coin. Like so, I mean, it's no surprise that you look. I'm just looking at the results here. It's like round two is like 90, 89, 88 and a quarter, 88 and three quarters, and then you look at round five, it's 91 to three quarters, 90 and a half, 89. Like it's crazy that we're so blessed with all the great talent and animals that we have in Canada to make it that competitive, and it helps you elevate your game too, right?
And I think the novice program up there,
Oh yeah.
it helps a lot too, because that gets your young guys around um the good guys from a young age, and that even the steer riding, that's great because your up and comers are sitting there bumping shoulders with some of the best guys in the world. Like I
Hmm.
remember riding steers and um like Dustin Flunger would be helping me on or Cork Shear or Clay, and it just you start a winning mindset at a young age, and I think that that really helps um the Canadian side of things as a whole, where down here in the States, there's still a lot of talent down here, don't get me wrong there, but it seems like maybe some of those guys down here, it takes them a bit longer to get comfortable on those bigger stages, where Canada does a great job of getting the youth rodeo involved at the bigger stages with the
Hmm.
steer riding and the novice at Calgary and at the CFR, and like even Strathmore, that's a big rodeo that
Hmm.
is really cool to go to, Ponoka for sure. And um, then a lot of the times, like when I first started going to the pro rodeos, like I knew what the arenas looked like. I knew everything about it. Where down here, coming down here for my rookie year, I'd never been to San Antonio or Houston or anything like that. And those are some big buildings. And even just finding where the contestants are supposed to park
Yeah.
at and get your passes and everything, that's where I've been lucky to have Ben and Logan. Um, my rookie year, they kind of just took me under their wing, and Logan enters us, and um, it, yeah, it us three is a great traveling group, I think. Ben, he's just kept mostly there for entertainment, but he don't like to drive a whole lot. But yeah, and we both Ben and I wouldn't make it very far down the road if we didn't have Logan. We probably wouldn't get entered in very many rodeos, but um, yeah, I just am very fortunate with how everything has turned out for me. Um, from the start, like having great guys there helping me get on my first bronc. Like my first bronc I got on, I had Sam Kelts, Dustin Flunger, and Clay Elliott there helping me.
Wow.
And um, Kirk Thompson and Kays, like I just had great help from the very
Mhm.
start. So when you set yourself up for success like that, it's a lot easier to be successful.
It's wild the access that young Bronc riders have in Canada. Like you mentioned all those great names, and you know, guys like Zeke giving back what they give back, and there's Lucas Moxa, and like there's just and even like Rod and Denny what they do up there in Wildwood. Like it's just amazing like how and even the contractors you see like what the Calgary Stampede does with the novice events and all the different practice pens there are around Alberta. Like it is like kind of a hub or a mecca for bronc riding. If you want to be a bronc rider in Canada or even in the world, like Alberta's not a bad place to hang out.
That's another great thing too. Like, um, you talk to some American guys, and when the Calgary horses run in, they can be intimidating because they're
Hmm.
big and strong and can be a little bit wild in the chute, and that's what we get on at the novice rodeos half the time up there. So we're used to that, and um, we don't. I think it just kind of gives us a little bit of an edge because we've got on them horses probably in the novice before, and now we're both at the pro rodeos, and the yeah, and I know. Oh, a good buddy of mine, Ian McGivney. I traveled with him when I was down here permit rodeoing, and when he got to get on his first Calgary course, he was so excited. And I was like, I don't really get what the big deal is, but
Yeah.
good for you, I guess.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky to have that at our disposal here. It's pretty awesome. And I want to talk a little bit more about Logan and Ben. Like it's they've kind of you kind of I guess the way it's set up now is you kind of have Zeke as like the old wily veteran of the group now, which is crazy to say because he's only like 30. But then you have Ben and Logan and Cole and maybe even Lucas in that group, kind of the middle-aged guys, the guys still a little bit on the wild side. But yeah, what are those guys meant to your career? And like you kind of touched on it, but expand on a little more like, how much fun it is to travel with those guys. Like they seem to always be having fun no matter where they are.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about traveling with those guys is it doesn't matter really if somebody's not riding that good or not drawing that good. It's so easy to get negative and kind of get
Hmm.
down on yourself. But with those two, if you're in a bad mood, you get teased and harassed until you're happy again. So it's no sense in being grumpy about it. Like, um, yeah, if you screw a horse up and go down or waste a good opportunity to win a good check, well, it's a good thing that we've got 4 more rodeos to go to this
Hmm.
week. Like, they don't let you dwell on anything, and yeah, everything it gets kept real light and happy, and we're always having fun, and not even so much in the partying aspect, but just everything we
Yeah.
do is fun. And like, we come down here to Texas in the wintertime and rent a place and bring some horses down and rope every day. And even that, it's everybody's teasing everybody all the time, and we just have a blast at whatever we're doing. We could be building fence and we'd make it fun. And
Yeah.
that's what has been very fortunate for me, is to get in with a group of guys like that. Um and you have Logan's knowledge. He knows how to enter
Hmm.
very good and knows when to be up, and he's good at finding trades. And um, there's been traveling groups that butt heads and stuff over, well, if there's 3 in a group and you can only get 2 trades, who's going to take the trades and stuff? And we've always just looked at it as that whoever needs it the most,
Hmm.
if you're lowest in the world standings and need that rodeo, or if you've got the best horse drawn there, you get the trades, and nobody ever takes it to heart or gets mad at each other for it. And we mostly just because Ben and I don't really have much idea what's going on, and Logan handles everything. So, but yeah, I remember my rookie year, we were in um, Reading, and that was one of the coolest days of my life and one of the scariest. I won the rodeo on Indian Burn, and then Logan, he got on a colt out there and it went out there and flipped over on him. It could have been so much worse, but ended up breaking his arm real bad. And so we got him to the hospital and got him ready for his surgery the next morning. Ben and I had to take off to get to Cloverdale the next day. And while Logan was hurt, Ben and I had to enter everything. And it was just for like a week that Logan wasn't entering us. So I think it was Wildwood weekend, and we had entered 5 rodeos, and I think we remembered to enter 2 of them or something. It wasn't very good, and we should get better at that. But Logan takes good enough care of us that we really don't have to.
Oh man, it's awesome. And it's fun. Like it's fun from even like my side of the coin, like a media personnel perspective, man. Every time you guys show up, you know it's gonna be a good time. Even I think thinking back to the CFR when you won that round, like those 2 guys were on the back of the chutes cheering just as loud as anybody. It's got to be kind of a fun little brotherhood, man. It just makes it that like that kind of like encompasses what's great about rodeo and even our like Canadian family side of things. Like we stick together, we support each other, and it just makes it that much easier, I think, to be successful. Which is why we've had so many great bronc riders come down the line over the years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And um, I think that speaks to the not just the Canadian bronc
Yeah,
riders, but all the bronc riders across the board. Like, everybody gets along and everybody's pretty
yeah.
reasonable. If you need a ride somewhere, everybody's willing to make whatever work. You might have to cram. Well, the other day we were in um, oh, Raleigh, North Carolina, and there was me, Ben, Logan, Gus Galliard, Wyatt Casper, um, Isaac Diaz, and Spencer Wright, and
Dang.
we all had our gear bags and saddles, and all of us crammed into a little minivan type deal. We didn't have to go very far. It was only like 20 miles back to the hotel, but
Hmm. Hmm.
just something as simple as that. It was Isaac's or Spencer's rental car, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, we'll make it work. You boys jump in," and that's just very fortunate for the Bronc Riders that we all get along so good. And like the timed event side of things, I don't really know how it is so much, but you hear stuff about like guys that don't get along, so they
Hmm.
can't travel together, even team roping partners that don't get along good enough to travel together. So,
It's
and
crazy.
that to me, that's not how rodeo should work in my mind. Like, yeah, we're all out here to be successful and win money and kind of run our own businesses through it. But if you can't have fun and get along with your buddies, then that's kind of half the point of rodeo. And if you're going to be miserable and grumpy, you might as well just stay home or get an office job, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But it is true what you say, man. Like I noticed it from my side, like how well all you Bronc riders get to like get along with each other. Like you see it at these big events, and I'm not saying that other events don't, but I think it's just a different level with you guys. Like you spend a lot of time together, going to a lot of the same events. Like it is true, and it's really cool to see because yeah, it makes things better for you guys and rodeo as a whole, just having that camaraderie with each other and helping each other out, and just grows the game at the end of the day. I want to talk more about a guy you've mentioned a few times through this whole deal, Clay Elliott. I know he's had a really big impact on his career. You remind me a lot of him in the way you ride and the way you carry yourself just over the year. I was talking to David Sharp about that the other day, actually. Just how similar you remind me of Clay, and just how important and pivotal was he on your career and even just your life in general and how you carry yourself and be a champion.
Yeah. Clay, he's been, well, one of my best friends since I was little, and I was lucky enough to have him kind of as a mentor too. And even
Hmm.
to this day, if I'm struggling or kind of fighting my head about something, I can always call Clay and he'll say two words and everything is just a lot better. And yeah, so I grew up about 15 miles away from Clay, and for a spring there, I first started riding broncs. I went to the Olds College Alumni Rodeo, which Tanner Gerlich just asked me if I wanted to go, and I said sure, and ended up breaking my leg up there. So um, I was kind of sitting around home, wasn't really doing too much. Mom and Dad were busy calving, and I couldn't help too much. And I was sitting on the couch, kind of going stir crazy. And Vern told me, he's like, well, you might as well be doing something useful. So come work in the hat shop with me. So I worked there for, a month and a half, helping them clean hats and stuff, and got to be around Vern a lot. And Clay was always in and out. He was still rodeoing hard at the time. And that's just a great family
Hmm.
that I've been fortunate to be around from a young age. And Ty helped me a lot when I was riding steers and riding bulls and um, stuff. So Clay actually, he gave me one of my first good bronc saddles, and he had just bought a Sprinter van and still had a camper. And he told me, well, I asked him what he's going to do with this camper just out of curiosity. He's like, well, I don't know. I don't really want to sell it, but um, I don't really want it on my truck anymore. We might as well put it on your truck and you go rodeo with it. So he set me up pretty good there. I had a bronc saddle and a Capri camper, and I was ready to hit the road. And yeah, Clay's a guy that's pretty soft spoken and just genuinely a great person. And he definitely, like, through my riding and stuff, I've always been told I ride a lot like Clay, and that's probably because that he was the when I first got my first bronc saddle, he helped me set it, and we'd put it on a horse in the round pen there and worked on spur outs and all the basics. And he was there for lots of practice horses that we bucked there in Pincher Creek. Calgary would send us like 8 horses down there that Kays would and I would buck twice a week there. And that deal there was just set up awesome. Kobe Herr, he lives down there around Pincher Creek, and he'd keep the horses at his house. Kays and I would pay for feed, and he'd haul them into town whenever we wanted to buck them. And he'd pick up for us and kind of line a crew up to help us get on. So it was it was just great. Clay'd come down, help us, or Zeke or Audie if they were around too. So um and Dustin Flundra, he was a great help too. But I think going back to Clay specifically, what really helped me with him was just how calm he was all the time. And um like you see guys getting on now, and it's each to their own, but some guys are jumping around there getting all jacked up and um, like they're about to go to war or something. And Clay always talked, he's like, just calm, cool, collected, and when you nod your head and then turn it on. Big spur outs and set your feet as hard as you can. And I've always tried to stay pretty close to that. I know last year over the fourth, I was kind of frustrated, and I sent him a few videos and called him when I was on my way to Calgary. And I said, I think my saddle's set fine, and I'm riding decent, but I said something just feels off and I don't know what it is. And he said he sends me like two screenshots of my videos and it's like right before I'm about to nod and I'm baring my teeth and I've got a big gur face on. He's like, "You're doing this. Don't do that. Calm down. You know how to ride broncs, just go ride them." And yeah, after that, things just kind of, I was relaxed and letting horses pack me out of there instead of being so tight and rigid that they're getting a snatch at you right away. So
Mhm.
just having him in your corner to keep you level headed and um, yeah, he was just a great influence on my life and still is. And yeah, very fortunate to know that family.
Well, and I know like Clay's bronc riding career kind of ended in a sour way, or maybe not the way he would have wanted. The crappy deal with the injury there, but he's kind of reinvented himself as a tie down roper, which is really cool. And he's I think he's on his way to making a CFR. I'm really pulling for him, and it's fun to see him kind of finding success there. But is it kind of cool for you to watch him kind of evolve and kind of take that next step in his career? And again, I said it's only a matter of time before we see him in Edmonton, but that's gotta be kind of cool from your perspective too. Hey,
For sure.
Inspiring even like.
Yeah, yeah. And that I think that's something that Clay and I kind of have in common there because um we would work in the hat shop or go build a round pen or something all day and then we'd run the calves in and we'd rope and Clay's a cowboy. He was not just
Mhm.
only a bronc rider, he can rope calves, he can team rope, start colts, make some really nice horses and was one of the best bronc riders to ever do it, in my
Mhm.
opinion. So yeah, I after he got hurt, um, it was definitely took some time for him to adjust, and but then when he started roping calves again, you could kind of see the spark in his eye again, and just his desire to win has been yeah inspiring for not only me but lots of people too. Like similar to J.R. Zane, they
Mhm.
kind of got put in the same situation. Um, JR, of course, was paralyzed, and Clay was really close to being paralyzed. And but yeah, that guy, he's just nothing's gonna slow him down. He whatever he's gonna do, he's gonna try his best at it and do it 110% and put in the time and the work to make himself better.
Yeah, it's been inspiring. Like I said, I think it's only a matter of time before we see him at the CFR in the tie down rope, and he's a Cowboys cowboy, that's for sure. Okay, a few more things before I let you go here. Q, I want to go back to the NFR last year. Obviously a huge accomplishment and something that's been a goal of yours since you were a little kid. What was it like rolling into Thomas and Mack for the first time? I know it was a little different this year with no horses in the Grand Entry, but you guys that was one of the highlights for me was how much fun you guys had, and even just in the Grand Entry.
Rolling into the Thomas and Mack for the first time, it it's something that I've dreamed about ever since, well, since I was able to walk. I said I was going to be a bronc rider and then I was going to be a good one too and make the NFR. So yeah, to get that accomplished and get there for the first time, I don't even really know if it's set in yet that I've done that, but the first 10 days out there, they were a blast. I had tons of fun out there and got on some really good horses, made some good rides. And yeah, it's hard to explain, like walking down the tunnel for the first time when you're going there for pictures and what used to be grand entry practice. You walk down the tunnel there and set your gear bag down, and you're kind of starting to feel it. And then they run the horses in for the first time, and then you look up and realize you're at the NFR. And it, to me, I tried to just treat it like every other rodeo and just stay as calm as I could be, but your old ticker gets going pretty hard before you nod your head there every night. And I had a ton of family and friends down there to come and watch me. It was it was a lot of fun. Definitely going to be back there a couple times.
What was the feeling like sitting down on that first horse? Like, were you nervous? Were you able to kind of keep it calm? Like, were you treated like any other rodeo? Or I mean, it's hard. Guys always say, and especially the first time down, that they say it's like any other rodeo, but there has to be some sort of nerves or some kind of like I don't know something running through your mind that doesn't usually happen.
I was starting to get nerved up there a little bit
Hmm.
before I got on, and um, you could kind of look at this situation either way. I was first out in the first round, and I had Guns Ablazing of Cervies, which is a good horse, just jumps out there, circles around to the left, kind of bucking, and He's kind of hard to get out on. So a guy's got to be paying attention and take your first shot you can get. And you had to have somebody pull his head over the chute and push him over. So with all that going on, it kind of took away from the fact, like I was just kind of more focused on getting the best shot on
Hmm.
that horse as I could. So it kind of relieved me from some pressure, took my mind off of things, and I just kind of got in there and got my stirrups, had Chet Johnson pull them over, and away I went. And actually, the second round too, I had a shoot fighter too. So the first two rounds, it was kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Just I needed to stay calm to help my horse out in the box there, and then by the third round, I was just ready to roll. Couldn't wait to get on, and um, not so much nervous anymore, but excited. And the 10th round there was probably my favorite round. Um, that was I had a great horse of Mox's, Steely Dan, and that horse they're 90 on him all the time.
Yep.
And yeah, he was real good bred around there and hit kind of stacked up across there. And it's just cool to be involved in nights of rodeo like that where you're watching people win gold buckles and um, make great bronc rides on great horses. And like even the short round of San Antonio the other night, like that was a great bronc riding.
Mhm.
And when they're like that, you're just having fun and everybody's having fun and nobody really cares who wins because the round's that good. I think Zeke and I split third or fourth, fifth the other night.
And
And
you're both 88 points.
yeah,
It's crazy,
exactly.
man.
Yeah, but that's the stuff that I love about bronc riding so much is when the rounds are so tough or you've got to be 90 something to win or make it back to a short round. Because those rodeos, you do go to some rodeos where
Hmm.
you're like 82 and winning second, and yeah, the money's good. And it's still fun getting on bucking horses. But what really makes it fun is when everybody's riding good, the horses are bucking, and you
Hmm.
just see who can make the best ride on the best horse.
I think that's one of the things that makes rodeo and like bronc riding and everything so unique at the end of the day, because the way the top guys treat it, it's not you versus Zeke, it's not you versus the right boys, it's not you versus Logan and Ben. It's you versus your horse, and you can do the best. You do the best you can do, and then otherwise you're cheering on your buddies because like at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control, and I think that's what separates the top athletes from everybody. But and a lot of fans maybe don't understand that it's you're not really competing against those other guys. You're competing against yourself and the horse to do the best you can do, which I think makes rodeo such a great thing.
I agree with that 100% too, because you do talk to some guys throughout the year that are sour that um, whoever's been winning is winning so much, and instead of them kind of being happy for that guy for having that
Yeah.
success, they like, oh, he's getting loaded everywhere he's going, or he's been drawing so good, which drawing is the biggest part of bronc riding. Everybody rides so good, you just need to get on those good horses, and um, you just can't panic about it either. If you've got to have a slow winter and spring, then you're bound to draw some. If you just keep going, you're bound to get on good horses eventually. And especially when you are riding good, you start getting into better rodeos and getting into short rounds where they're all the best horses in the world are. So your opportunity's gonna come. So there's no sense being mad about you
Hmm.
not winning or somebody else beating you. And I think I agree with you there because the best guys in the world, they're not worried about that. Like if you show up to a rodeo to go try a horse that maybe not very many people know, might be a bit younger, but might work, that colt might jump out there and buck and you could win the rodeo, or you might run off and you're 72 points. And
Yeah.
whether it costs you making the NFR or whatever, it's just kind of how it goes. And if you get down and mad about it, then it's not going to help you in the long run, which uh, a lot of my family and friends and stuff, they'll say some comments sometimes like, "Oh, shouldn't have went like that, or should have been a rewrite or whatever." And it comes from a good place in their heart, just because they want to see me win. But I do my best to try not to think like that, and I think I do a pretty good job at that, and just kind of take the highs as highs and the lows as lows and find myself somewhere in the middle there. And yeah, I just love riding bucking horses, and that's what my main job is to do there. And whether I win first or fourth, it it all I really focused on is if I did my job or what I could do better. And even like the other night in San Antonio there, yeah, I was 88 and made pretty decent ride, but I'll watch that video back and I could do things different and do things better to my standards. And I think that's what keeps the competitive edge in me, and the desire to win is definitely there, but to keep myself wanting to get better at riding bucking horses where you can kind of pick those rides apart and, oh, I should have got back more, or sent my feet a little bit harder, or held my feet to another jump maybe sometimes. But yeah, to me, I just kind of run it as an individual sport where it's not me against anybody else.
Mhm.
It's just me make the best ride possible on the horse I have drawn, and see where I end up.
Hey man, that's how winners do it, man. I'll stand by that till the day I die. It's a winner attitude, and that's how you become a winner. I think you treat it like that and you approach it from that way. I think you'll a successful inevitably find you in that regard. So, man, this has been so good. I really appreciate you fitting me in on short notice, and it's been fun to catch up. And thanks for making the time. We wish you nothing but the best heading into this season, and we'll catch you down the road.
Thanks for having me.